everyone. That was a nice match to start the day off with. We're going to head into Meet Your Makers versus EG in just a second. But for now, I would like to ask someone very special on stage. Carmack, can you come out? Give him a round of applause. Woo! So Carmack, what sweaters have you brought? Well, tell us something about them.
Well, every event we have the MVP voting, and the people that watch the streams for each particular event, they vote for the guy who carried this particular event. That's kind of a tradition of ours. And I've got 2 MYM hoodies for the 2 MYM guys, so why don't you call them out?
Kuban and Mackler, could you come over here for a second? They're heading over. They were, of course, setting up for that game in just a second. Ready, guys, go? Carmack's even helping to put them on. Yeah. How about a round of applause for these 2 gentlemen? All right. Very good. Want to ask them something or just set up for their match? Okay. Now they're going to go in to their match against EG. What do you think? Can they take on EG?
I think they're Polish. They can do everything.
They're Polish. They can do everything. All right. Thank you, Carmack. We're going to head over to our analysts to get into this game.
Thank you for that one. Welcome back. It is, of course, the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships here on the analyst desk. Jarrett Kale is losing his mind at the moment because if he hits 13,337 followers, he will be singing Lady Gaga on stage.
I'm starting to get pretty scared.
It's a big
what seemed
number.
like, you know, a bet that couldn't happen, so it didn't really matter. I think I've jumped 1,000 followers
Carmack has
in the
some
last
very
hour.
influential friends.
Well, there's about 50K people on the stream at the moment. I think it may even be higher. And yeah, we want to see it. I've just tweeted to Carmack. I'm sure he's listening, and I'm gonna throw you in the deep end here. Do you think if we hit like a higher number, like 15, 18, 20K, would you be willing to do it in your underwear?
I could keep my jacket on.
Keeping it
Are we
classy.
talking bottoms only?
Keeping it classy. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, man, a blazer and underwear. Anyway, let's get to the
we
game.
get distracted.
Who cares about
Distracted
me?
by half-naked Jarrett
Who cares
Kale.
about me and my movie coming out soon? Meet Your
versus
Makers.
MYM.
Yes, Meet Your Makers or CG. Meet Your
Makers.
Meet Your Makers, all from Poland. Go Poland. I'm half Polish, fighting. And Team EG from all around Europe, including Snoopy, who's Scottish, quarter Scottish, fighting. It's my
You can't
hardest
beat
tour.
everyone.
This
You
is,
can't
I'm
beat
Canadian, man. I'm like at 16 things.
Well, Evil Genie says they won the coin toss. They are on the blue side, so they are wearing their home colors. Meet Your Makers, they are, of course, a team that didn't qualify for the LCS. They're one of the outsiders. And Nexus were one of the outsiders. They defeated SK Gaming.
The outsiders have been doing very well this
Let's have a look
tournament.
at that team sheet really quickly, just to refresh everybody's memory. They are, of course, going to be challenging EG, who haven't looked the strongest this last weekend. So, we'll see if EG can hold their own.
Admittedly, EG haven't really had the time to practice either since the LCS weekend, and everyone saw that they did not have a good standing. As you said, did not have a good time there. Haven't had a chance to practice, haven't had a chance to really turn that around. So this is going to be a big test to get straight in. As you said, MYM have had all this time to practice. They didn't qualify for the LCS, and all the other outside LCS teams have done very well so far this tournament. The Nexus taking down SK, Millennium getting down in the groups yesterday. So when we do get MYM's roster up on the screen there, we will see who joins Makate and Cuban after their shiny new jackets.
Yeah, exactly. And they are really, really cool hoodies. Carmack actually came in and showed them to us before the segment was going out there and pretty much said, look how cool these things are. Rubbed it in our faces that we don't get them, It's a bit, it sucks sometimes
I
when you
thought
sit
it was
back
on.
here. Yeah,
We're pretty nice guys. We're cool guys.
I can do that. I can carry CeBIT.
Well,
I carried the
try.
analyst desk.
I carried the analyst
Nicely done.
2013.
Nicely done. So yeah, it's definitely going to be an exciting game. We don't really know too much about MYM at the moment because we haven't seen them for a little while, but we know they do like to play aggressive champions. They do like to play aggressive teams. And there is the roster. It is, of course, Kuban, Mokate, Charu, Makla, Libik. Personal note, I think Charu's got the coolest hair out of any League of Legends professional. I haven't seen his hair for this event, but leading up to it and previously, really awesome. And, of course, the brothers in the lineup as well.
Yeah, it's one of the oldest squads in the scene too. These guys have been together for so long, and admittedly, they didn't have the best of starts. They were very quiet on the scene, but MYM have stuck with them. They've kept them going. They've been practicing. They've been training. They've been doing what they need to do, and they have come out with a vengeance in the last couple of months. Everyone expected them to get into LCS. They won IEM Singapore. They did very well at IEM Cologne. Now's their chance to show us exactly what they've done in the last 2 months. So I'm expecting big things, and I'm hoping big things too. They deserve it.
Yeah, it's so true. You know, they have been working really, really hard, and because of the fact that they've been around for such a long time, it's been a slow, gradual climb. You know, it has culminated. I think probably the best result was winning IEM Singapore, and you know, there's such nice guys as well. They're really, really dedicated to the game. Everybody knows Evil Geniuses. It is, of course, the team that is formerly known as CLG EU. That was the brand that they were running on leading up until I think the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. The last IEM event, they didn't actually go by EG. No.
Nope. No,
it was CLG. So let's have a look at the players just to refresh everybody's memories. It is, of course, Wicked, top lane, Snoopy, Froggen, Yellow Pete, and Crepo.
Yeah, they, as you see, they came 5th, 6th actually, IEM Cologne. They got knocked out in the group stage, which was quite a surprise. But just before Christmas, they'd done a lot of traveling. They hadn't quite recovered. They just come back from America actually about 3 days before the tournament. So a little bit disappointing, but overall not too surprising. They qualified, of course, here by placing 3rd at the Season 2 Regional Finals. That was Gamescom, which did count towards the IEM circuit, and that got them their place in the World Finals, in which, of course, 3rd, 4th place alongside what was Azubu Frost is a very respectable position.
Yeah, it's nothing to sneeze at.
No,
it's all 3rd/4th because we don't actually have a 3rd place in IEM.
Yeah, exactly. The World Finals didn't play that 3rd place game because...
And I don't think we will be here either.
I think the finals day.
No 3rd place match.
It's a bit of a depressing game to play because you're the best loser.
Yeah.
You know, it's there's no real point to it. Yeah. So you know, 3rd, 4th is that if you go out in the semi-finals, the teams are going to be fighting for that position to face off against either Gambit, Millennium, or CJ Enters Blaze. And you know, we're talking about the World Finals and the teams were there, and a good chunk of teams that were there are actually here as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've got the likes of CJ Frost. We've seen they've played EG in the OGN in the World Finals. They've met a lot, and they are a highly fought matchup. The pair of them, quite a rivalry going on between the two. So when we do get that rematch going through, very exciting game. But this one does look just about ready to go into Champions League. I do want to touch quickly back on MYM. We mentioned before how long they've been together. And the other. One of the big things I find is, I don't want to say problem, but one of the things we have in the European scene at the moment, with the amateur teams, with the guys outside the LCS, with the ones that aren't an Nexus, with the ones that aren't MYM, aren't Millennium, they change too much.
Yeah.
It's like every 2 weeks you see a roster change on this team, every 3 weeks you see a roster change on that team, and no one seems to stick together. Everyone's just rushing to make a team and play a game and try something, make a team and play a game, and it doesn't work, and they just don't sit there and try to figure out why it doesn't work. They just find a new player, and they find a new player. You get a team like this. I mean, Diamond Prox, when you picked up by game, it was 1,500 elo.
Yeah.
Years back. You find a team, you make sure you gel as people, and then you train as a team. Give it some time, you train up, you learn. That's how you get this stage. And MYM, showing you what perseverance gives you. Oh, picks and bans. Very quickly done. Rumble, no surprise. Xin Xiao, no surprise. Vi, back in there to the European team. Snoopy was trying it a lot during Super Week. Didn't seem to work out for him. It's a very new style of jungler to what he's used to. He's usually a very supportive jungler, like some Maokai, Skarner, slower ones perhaps, just setting up the kills and helping out his team. Vi, on the other hand, very aggressive. And unfortunately, we've seen a couple of times he used that assault and battery and gone way too deep into the enemy team. Just got caught out by flashes and dashes and Thresh abilities, lanterns pulling him way deeper than he should have been. So, not quite there.
Thresh, Lux, and Needly not wanting to deal with those long-range pokes, not wanting to deal with those champions. Anivia is still available, though. I do have to point that one out, as is Renekton, as is Shen. From what we've been seeing out of Evil Geniuses over the last few weeks, it wouldn't surprise me to see probably all of those particular picks in their roster if they decide to run, you know, that kind of thing. Something that we've been seeing from Yellow Pete and Crepo has been the Varus and Lulu bottom lane. So it will be something to keep an eye out for. MYM on the other side, they have decided to lock in Elise and Twisted Fate. So mid laner and probably top laner, possibly jungle.
Charu has a very strong Twisted Fate, so it's going to be exciting to see exactly how he goes with that, but he is against Froggen, arguably one of the best mids in the world, most consistent mids in the world. Do you want to comment on the KO? It's the first time we've seen her played. She's been banned out in a lot of previous games. But you also got to look at, again, don't want to mention it too much, but Super Week, Diamond Prox was interviewed, Alex with a translation of types.
Yeah.
And it was mentioned they banned out KL against EG simply because it is one of Snoopy's best junglers. He is very, very good on that Chaos. So
This is one of the first games.
Or if it goes to Program, we'll have to wait and see. But that is a very strong pick in EG's lineup.
This is one of the first games where Kayle has not been banned and was insta-locked by Wicked.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen her first pick. She's picked straight up by there. Program does have that shed at the moment. We mentioned going to be in every game. Possibly up in the top lane, does suit Wicked very well, just sits in that top lane, just farms and pushes, farms and pushes, farms and pushes. So we'll see whether those two switch or if Snoopy ends up taking it to the jungle. I mean, they might not have decided yet. They might wait for the rest of NYM's picks to go with it and opt for their decision. Hovering over Twitch. Vayne is a big one for...
That would be an interesting one. When you see the Vayne being picked in, and the reason I say so, during the build-up to this particular matchup, in the game lobby, I threw my eyes down every now and again, and there was actually a bit of trolling back and forth saying Vayne Sona equal OP, no Vayne Zyra equal OP. So seeing the pick over Vayne, you know, Markler we know can play a very, very good Vayne, but it was interesting that a champion that was potentially going to be picked being used almost as bait in conversation. And you cannot stress enough the effect that it's going to have on your psychological state in the game going into it. But you can see here a Nocturne being locked in. I think it's going to be the first Nocturne of the World Champions.
Definitely.
And again, the power that it has, the ganking potential when you pair that up with a Twisted Fate is terrifying. You're going to have that Paranoia coming in, you're going to have Destiny coming in, and all of a sudden, within the matter of a second and a half, 2 seconds, what was a 1v1 is now a 3v1 and you're dead.
Yeah, I mean, 4v1s, I think, when you got both of them involved. And it does work very well against Shen. I mean, Twisted Fate, yes, he can roam a lot, he can gank a lot 1-6. I mean, you can leave it this way. Makati can just sit there in the jungle and he's Nocturne, just farm, just go through the camps, farm and farm and farm, get very strong. Doesn't actually need to gank in so far these lanes. I mean, Elise is going to be very strong 1v1. Twisted Fate can be a very strong 1v1. Can gank in his only hit 6. We'll see what their bottom lane is, but Zyra tends to be pretty safe laner, can be quite aggressive, can be quite safe if needs be. So he can just sit there and farm and farm and farm until he hits 6. And he hits 6, and he still doesn't need to gank. He can keep farming, keep getting stronger, and then use his ultimate to counteract the Shen ultimate. So, all right, we're going to take a fight. We're expecting Shen to ultimate.
Xerath.
Keep your ears open. If he does, then Nocturne comes to join him. And yes, there's that Xerath pick. We saw it a lot during the NA Super Week. He has incredible poke ability, that artillery. He does what Lux does. Yeah, it's arguably that Lux does it better at the moment. That's what a lot of players are doing, but a lot of people are trying it now with Xerath, figuring out how it works. It's the fact that he has to go immobile when you activate that W to get the most out of his damage output that a lot of players didn't like. However, now they've started to use him more, practice him more, start to position themselves a bit better, rather than using it to initiate a straight up fight down in the mid lane, using it hiding over a wall, planting the wards that get in vision, using it to just chunk down even a tanky player, just getting them low, making sure they have that effective 4v5, because one guy's going to get one shot by your AD carry and turn the tide of a fight. And his cooldowns aren't pretty long. His ultimate, 40-50 seconds. So you can do that once, push them off an objective. You don't even need to fight. Push them off a dragon, push them off a baron, take that objective, back away again, and it'll be up again in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, he's the ultimate siege cannon. He's got a huge, huge range. Something that we'll see Froggen doing time and time again, I'm 100% sure of it. He's sitting just outside of vision, throwing out that Arcano Pulse and just, you know, using the range and the lack of vision on your skill shot to land multiple hits. We've seen it over in NA, actually, where Xerath would use his ultimate, get 1.5 or 1 or 2 procs down before the defending players even knew that they were being hit by it, because, of course, it does take that second or two to load up. You can see the players there on your screen. MYM, they are on the left-hand side of the screen. Evil Genius is on the right. It's going to be an awesome game, and it's definitely one that Jarrett has been looking forward to.
I'm excited. I'm actually a pretty big EG fan. I know there's another game that made famous the EG curse. Now I think that's silly superstition, but the results haven't been so great since they joined EG. Would love to see them do very, very well at this tournament.
They have their ups and downs, everyone.
Everyone has ups and downs, except me. The players are ready. We're all ready. The fans are ready. I hope you're ready at home. We're going to throw it over to the casters, Jason Kaplan and Joe Miller. Have fun.
So here we go then, Evil Geniuses versus Meet Your Makers. We've already seen, Jason, in the last 2 days, 2 non-LCS teams upsetting 2 LCS teams. Is this going to be number 3?
It always can happen. We saw Matt Cologne, they took Evil Geniuses on pretty easily. It was a very one-sided match. But Meet Your Makers having all this time to actually practice and train up, as a quick shot and Panky were mentioning. They have the ability to do it, and with SK Telecom beating CJ Frost and then seeing a Nexus take on SK, anything can really happen today.
So talk us through these 2 lineups here, and specifically level 1. First of all, let's focus on level 1. Do you think that we're going to see anything there?
If anything, I'm going to have to say it'll be coming out. Well, EG likes to go for an aggressive ward at the Wraith camp you're currently seeing, where Makati is, but they don't really have a great team to go for a level 1 fight. I mean, Sona has some decent damage, so is Misfortune, but you won't have like a stun out of Frog or anything like that. Snoopy won't have too much damage. You only have that taunt out of Wicked as well. But for Meet Your Makers, they have the potential to do it. They have the gold card, they have the fear if they want, they have the cocoon, and they also have the Zyrograss Mirror, so they have a lot of control and a lot of damage behind it. And that's kind of what their comp is based around. They don't really have a tanky front line.
So what we're going to see from Evil Geniuses, they're on the blue side, and I've got a feeling that we're going to see exactly what we've seen out of them at LCS in terms of how they set up this level 1. They've been going for very specific ward positions. That pink ward again in the hands of Crepo. He's generally been in the right place at the right time to get rid of the wards that have been put against EG at the start. However, we can see it's very much the line defense setup here out of EG. One man down by the Tribush, one on the Wraith ramp, one in the middle, and then the same over on the other side. So pretty standard start here from EG. Looks like MYM going to be starting off with their Wraiths here with Makata. Charu going to be helping him. Kubon looks like he will be taking that top lane, but from EG's side, we're going to see a lane switch.
Yeah, Joe, it's kind of interesting that you mentioned Crepo and the pink ward, and he talked about when he was on the analysis desk during LCS that level 1s, they're so easy to predict almost, that if you watch any team, you can see these patterns develop of where they put wards, or where they go on certain junglers, and I'm assuming he has had time to get that research down. We do see that lane switch happening, with that Misfortune Sona going to be in the top lane, but we also see Meatmakers reacting to it, so they're going to be having the 80 carries in that top lane, or sorry, the 80 carries and supports in the top lane, and the top laners in the bottom.
Yep, nice little switch around there by Meet Your Makers, realizing that that was going to happen. So it will be the Elise versus Shen in the bottom lane, Cogmore Zyra versus Misfortune Sona in this top lane. Talk us through this top lane first of all, Jason. Who's got the strongest side at both stages of the game?
Well, in the early game, Misfortune, well, EG will easily take this since Misfortune just has so much damage early on. Crepo has a lot of poke with that Sona, and then Kog'Maw doesn't really do much damage until level 6 when he can pretty much overpower any kind of opponent. And then we have Zyra, who's very squishy, so they're not going to be really looking to get any early kills, as they do hit level 2 pretty early on and putting some pressure on them. Yeah,
nice double up coming in here from Yellow P, actually getting good damage down on towards Mackler. He's below half HP at this point. And as you said, it's going to be a bit of a bully lane. Meet Your Maker's going to have to sit back, farm up as much as he can. We know that Cogmore only going to be getting stronger as the game progresses. So middle lane, Twisted Fate versus Xerath, Jason.
Well, Xerath, it's all about that range, as we've been seeing what Froggen's doing so far. He just hits him from that, well, he pops that W down, hits him with his Q, and there's nothing Twisted Fate can do about it except maybe dodge on the sides. He has to get in very close to get that gold card down and really do any damage, but then it's going to come down to that level 6. What is Charu going to do with that ultimate, with that teleport? Is he going to make use out of it, or is he going to be pushed out of that laning phase too early?
Well, yeah, Charu has gone teleport, and he's got the Destiny in there as well. Something that we always see Charu play is that teleport. It doesn't seem to matter who is playing in the mid lane. He's a real big fan of going for that teleport to get in, snowball those lanes out. Mackler did have a few hard hits there in that top lane. He's running very, very low right now, and obviously with Zyra doesn't have a sustain here, so that could be a bit of a problem for him. I imagine he's going to go straight into a vamp set to try and fix that problem.
And the thing is, we know Lipic as an amazing Zyra. We saw in Singapore just how fantastic he was. I think he was leading his team at some point in the game with kills, but they had to kind of go for support like that. They needed some sort of protection for Mackler, where he can just get dove into the back line, or Froggen might actually be able to burst it down. We have to have Char teleporting in.
Yeah, coming in down into this bottom lane. Wicked going to shadow dash away, and I'm not sure that they'll be able to catch him with this one. Actually, Flash Cocoon. Wicked flashes away from it, though. Have they got the damage here to finish off? There goes the repel. The ignite is down. Is it enough to finish him off? The Spinalin's in there. There is a first blood for Elise.
I think that was the last take of Ignite. Yeah. Q1 picking up that great kill, and they blew a lot of summers to go for it. We were looking at each other like that was kind of a wasted teleport, but in the end, making it worthwhile, picking up that first blood and giving that nice advantage over to Cubon, going to be in that bottom lane.
Yeah, great little star coming out then for Meet Your Makers, up against a very solid team in the form of Evil Geniuses. We are going to see Xerath coming in. There's the exhaust down on towards Libic. Is they going to be able to get in there? The root comes down, cleanse away from Froggen. They managed to pick off Libic, and that's going to be all she wrote up there, but that is a nice kill coming down. Misfortune getting that one.
That was an amazing grassroots coming out of Libic. Unfortunately, it didn't save him, and we had Crepo being very aggressive, flashing in just to exhaust him, just so he wouldn't get away. Overall, great play out of EG right there, and it was a very scary moment. If they didn't get that kill, they would have wasted so many things just to make that happen.
Froggen,
to not get a kill.
yeah, Froggen has used that cleanse, so as we said, to get out of the route. So we'll see if that complains things. That means he doesn't have the cleanse to get away later on from a possible gold card gank there coming out of Twisted Fate with the Nocturne coming in there. That's all ifs and buts at this stage. Let's have a look down this year. Shen got a massive lead here over Elise, despite going down early on for that first blood, 33-18 in favor of Wicked in that lane. Between the AD carries, Misfortune got a little bit of a lead. There's the vamp set that I predicted earlier on coming out of Cogmore, but he's actually facing a lot of pressure here again. That slow pretty much saving him in that.
And that Void it just completely stops Misfortune in her tracks. She has that nice speed buff from her passive, but it doesn't matter when you're running through that in the end. And Joe, we're getting very close to level 6. We have Charu finally just hit it, so we have that ultimate available if they do want to go for a gank. And also Makade is approaching that level 6 point as well. So when we see Makers get that crucial point in levels, we should see some amazing ganks happening where, you know, Wicked, he won't be able to really ult in just because of the vision loss out of Nocturne. And that's really going to create some problems if Makers can burst them down in time before he gets in, or you can get there.
Yeah, and Wicked again, he's pushed fairly far up this lane. If we see Nocturne coming down to the bottom side of the map, that's where we have to be really, really careful as to where this is going to go. We can see there Froggen just charging up here to have a go at Charu from as long of a range as he possibly can. Charu actually just going to head back from this one here. So we may see that Twisted Fate getting involved. Obviously, Charu went with Flash and Teleport in that lane compared to the Flash and Cleanse that we had coming out of Froggen. So no Ignite from both players. They're going to have to rely on the pure damage that they've got coming out of those abilities. Well, we've also seen Snoopy headed up to level 6, which could be a counter if he's in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, he's trying to stop all that burst that comes out of MYM. If he can hit it on the right person at the right time, they'll blow, Makers will blow a lot of abilities that they won't get back for a while. He did have Makade start at red buff, so he picks it up right now. Looks like he is heading up towards his top and to go for a gank, but Charu not really in a position to help out if they do want to commit to it.
Well, he's going to have to head up quickly if he wants to be involved in that one, but it would still be a 3-on-2 gank in this top lane. The question is, do they have the power still to match Misfortune Sona? Crepo is also at level 5 right now, so it shouldn't be too long before he gets that crescendo in, and that's something that's going to stop Nocturne completely in his tracks, as we are going to see them going in here on towards Crepo, and there is the kill. Makler, they sew it up quickly, and that's because, quite frankly, they were too far away from that turret, not expecting that Nocturne gang.
And there's nothing Wicked could do about that because they killed him before that paranoia went away, and that's what you have to do with this team. Makers playing very solid. We see the bullet time actually used just to keep that creep wave pushed out, because we have Makade trying to go in for a gank on ELP, trying to go for that 3v1, and still, if they want to, they probably could get that turret down. Instead, they're going to head over towards his blue buff and deny it onto Froggen, which is actually a perfect play because there he eats a lot of mana just to push out those waves, even though he has that chalice.
Yep, and Twisted Fate actually headed over, but in the meantime, we saw Snoopy doing the blue buff of Meet Your Makers. This is a perfect read coming out of Evil Geniuses. The question is, are they going to be able to take it down before anyone comes in? Yes, they will be able to. Xerath is going to get a blue buff in the end, so all equal on that front.
Oh, Makade's still in the vicinity, though. I don't believe he actually has been spotted towards his top side. Nowhere is currently able to see him, and they easily can dive onto him once Makers pushes up this lane, especially with the LP back end. We see Charu actually teleported in towards the blue buff. They are going to go for a 4-man dive here.
Yes, they are. There are two, obviously, Sona sticking around there. It is Crepo, who did die a little bit earlier on. They're going to push this lane out here. Let's see how this one goes. Middle lane is being pushed back by Evil Geniuses, and you can see that EG are a little bit wary of what's going to happen here in this top lane. Crepo's going to get caught underneath the turret. Stun card not come down, but he gets rooted in there. Makata comes around. Kill coming down for Makler. That is the second one now for this Cogmore, but middle lane is being pushed by Froggen and Snoopy. EG gonna take this one, but they will lose that top turret.
And they're gonna lose a little bit of damage on their mid turret as well, as everyone Makers is backing away. They were able to get another kill on the Makler, so he is 2 out at this point, and we know Kog'Maw being the strongest late game carry, or at least AD carry in the game. And that turret, I mean, it's not gonna get to half health, but still, that's a really bad sign for Makers. They have to protect this turret, because if they lose that, there's so much control that they're gonna be missing out on.
Yeah, they need to counter that with good ward placement, which, to be honest, Zaru got those 2 assists in there, certainly can afford to be doing stuff like that. Haunting Guys picked up by Elise to add into that Doran's ring from earlier on. And when I was talking about the blue buff, by the way, he was actually smited down by Makata, so he took the blue on the EG side. and Xerath was given the blue. So that actually worked out better for EG in the end of it.
Yeah, actually, I don't think MYM expected CeBIT to award that blue buff just to have the timing on it. But as we do see, they're going to be going for the Dragon right now. And we've seen over today and yesterday just how much Dragon control really benefits you in the entire game. It really gives you a nice advantage in gold, even if you start falling behind in CS in terms of towers. However, Mutual Makers is ahead on all fronts.
Yep, now MYM going to send their AD carry support down to this bottom lane. They're pushing that one out. EG doing the same with having Yellow, Pete and Crepo in that top lane. Although I say that, Crepo is actually bottom side of the map right now, so that might change here in a little bit as well. Charu, obviously, in the middle lane, got no tower behind him at this point, so needs to be a little bit wary of getting caught out from that one. We can see that Wicked, at the moment, alone on that bottom turret, but we will see Kale and Sona come around to give him that little bit of protection. And MYM need to be a little bit cautious about this one. There's a flash crescendo coming out. Taunt comes down onto Libic. Can they finish off? Oh, failed flash coming out. And that will be a kill for Wicked.
That's got to feel bad when you're that close to the wall, but because of the exhaust just slowed down so you can't get close enough to it to flash. Very unfortunate.
And then when you do, you don't get over it.
So you're like, oh, I just wasted that summoner. But Joe, it's kind of surprised. Charu has yet to use his ultimate. In every gank he's done so far, it's been through teleport, which to me is a little bit interesting since his ult has a quicker cooldown. Obviously, the first gank he didn't have it up, but I guess the second one he wanted to be a little bit sneaky in the end, but still has it available. And we do see that 3-man push on the bot lane out of EG. However, we see Makade and Maka coming down.
It doesn't matter though.
For a trap.
Frogon is, inside of that tri-bush. Here we go. He's going to get stunned up. Can they finish off? Uses the cleanse to get away. Twisted Fate going to get involved in this, but I'm not sure it's the right decision in the end. We see the darkness going to come out from Makata. That should slow things down, but Charu getting caught. Here come the roots out of Zyra. They've turned it around. Going in on towards Snoopy. He's going to die to Makla. What a turnaround there for Meet Your Makers.
And Cubon, he tried coming in from the side and flashing over that river wall, but he failed it as well. I don't think he wanted that really talked about or seen, but he could have picked up a couple of kills there. And what a perfect ultimate by Makade. It wasn't aggressive. I mean, if people forget, you can use it defensively. You can use it to just escape, lose that vision on you just so you don't take any more damage. Great play out of Meet Your Makers. Turn that gank into a 1-kill advantage.
Really, really nicely done. That will leave us at 4-2 in kills for MYM. 18.8 to 16.8. Nice 2,000 gold lead. And they could bring the turret advantage back to 2-2 at this point. Wicked actually sticking onto the turret there with that Cocoon and the Zyra roots. That's definitely a dangerous decision from him. In the end, he won't get caught this time around, though. And we are going to see Kale and Sona headed towards this bottom lane.
Yeah, we currently do see a lot of money actually stacked up for Wicked at this point, as well as Yellow Pete, who was just pushing that top lane, then pushing middle, just trying to gather as much farm as possible so his ultimate really do the damage it needs late game. And Meet Your Makers were defended off because of Xerath. I mean, that poke, that range you have, you can clear waves so quickly, just like he's a Nivy is used to, and it's really going to benefit them in the long run if Meet Your Makers doesn't have the ability to get in there and hit those turrets.
So let's have a look at the CS. Wicked. And Kubon actually back level now. In fact, Kubon has taken over 71 to 74. Jungle 16 CS advantage for Nocturne. Middle lane is real close, only 4 or so difference. AD carries though 20 CS lead for Yellow Pete, but 3 kills on Cogmore. He's now 5,000. That'd be a big deal.
Yeah, I was like
500
wow.
Gold ahead of the Misfortune.
And this is a really crucial point there because he's trading CS for kills. Actually, you do see Stupid getting caught in his own jungle, but should be able to escape. And they really wanted to deny that blue buff away again. However, we did see obviously last time Froggen took the enemy blue buff. So, but what Kogma's doing, he's trading the CS for the kills, but if they don't make plays off of it, then it's going to work out against them. He's going to fall behind, and EG's going to have the ability to start doing some hard engages on these team fights.
Well, we can see the EG with 4 men here trying to secure this blue buff, which is all well and good, but at the end of the day, it's the blue buff which is going to be respawning. The tower in the middle certainly won't respawn if they end up losing that one here. Twisted Fate and Zyra, between them, going to take it down. That's a brilliant play out of MYM.
Yeah, very smart play. I mean, they had Makade just sticking around, not even trying to take the blue. I mean, maybe potentially smite it away, but just to keep them there, just to protect it so they lose their mid turret in the end. And Makla now, he's going into this bottom lane, just trying to get this turret down as well, trying to catch up and farm a little bit, but let that turret, he's going to get even farther ahead of Misfortune. And Meet Your Makers, I mean, with a 3-0 Kog'Maw, who probably has Infinity's Edge done very soon, that's a really scary thing to go up against at this point. You don't have anyone with well, we don't have anyone really tanky enough to go into it. I mean, Shen, yeah, he will have that Sunfire Cape done very shortly, but still, I mean, if you hit someone else besides Shen, they're going to drop like a rock.
Yeah, and what items have we seen coming out in these last moments, which we've not talked about? So, the Athene's Hunt Unholy Grail being finished off there by Frog, and we've got the Giant's Belt plus the Chain Vest for Shen, so he's headed up nicely. Oh, they did steal a blue in the end. Okay.
Yeah,
in the end, they stole it, but we were looking at the tower in the middle lane when it happened. So.
Yeah, apparently
Apologies
did,
for that one.
Apparently Makati actually did steal it away with that smite. So Frog.
So it was an even better play out of Meteor Makers than we thought before.
It was already good before, but now it was an amazing play out of them. And we do have Cubon picking up his haunting guys like he had before, but now with that Giant's Belt, to be working towards a Rylai's or that Warmog's armor that they need at this. They're going to need this because all you really have is Nocturne, who isn't really tanky at this point. He has a Phage. They need that protection. They need someone to soak up this damage that EG can put out, and they're up against that Kale ultimate. So if they use all their burst on someone, it won't really affect them in the end, and they're going to have that sustained damage, which Mackler will bring to the table.
So where's the next action going to come in? We've got 10 seconds for the Dragon. Seems like the obvious point moving up. And look at the ward coverage on that bottom side here. Pink ward, pink ward, pink ward all along the river. And as I say that, there's pink ward number 4. This time coming out of Evil Geniuses to clear one out. But Meteor Makers have got good coverage on that bottom side as well. We'll see how this one all goes down. There's another ward put around the corner from Zyra. NYM not in the best position. However, Charu does have teleport available along with that Destiny, so he can come in there, but also move on later to chase in. That's something that we don't really talk about that much with Twisted Fate. We talk more about him getting into the fight, but that allows him that ability to really chase off and mop up the kills at the end. EG going to start off here. They're on top of a pink ward, and we are going to see Meteor Makers coming in around the side. The cocoon not landing, but the roots will land onto Froggen. Here comes the Zyra ultimate in there. The intervention came onto Froggen, but it might be too late. Oh, Makata flashed over for the chase, but he'd already got the kill. Mackler getting one. Stan United going to come in there. The bullet time ripping through NYM. They all go low, but will they get the kills? Dragon has gone down there in the final seconds of it as a flash comes out from Yellow Pete. Here is the Destiny, though. Where's Twisted Fate going to go? He's down at the bottom, flashes into Snoopy. There's the wild card finisher. Destiny is already timed out. Wicked is still in the Dragon Pit low. Zyra actually coming in around the side, and there is a finisher from Mackler again. And now they're chasing down onto Yellow Pete. Can they finish this one off, though? He gets slowed out, blocks that one with the shield for at least for a little while, and he gets the fear onto Yellow Pete. They lock him down for the kill, and the ace here, at least a delayed one, coming out of Meteor Makers.
And that was so confusing off the beginning. They invested so many wards into that Dragon Pit, into the bottom half of the jungle for EG, and then for them to come in there, Makati dove straight into the backline with that ultimate, got Froggen killed instantly. And the thing was, Froggen tried using his ultimate to get Mackler out of the fight, or at least push him low enough so he couldn't afford to be in there. But Mackler, smart enough, just stayed away. He flashed out of the ultimates and didn't get harmed at all. And then we saw Yellow Pete. He had his flash available in the Dragon Pit, but he's like, you know what? I'm going to fight this instead of running away. Almost picking up 2 or 3 kills there, but Meteor Makers running away perfectly. Were able to get an ace with no deaths.
See, because of how that went down there at the end with a bullet time, Yellow Pete actually played it super smart, as in, there's 3 guys there, but they're all low.
Right.
He knew that Makata had flashed over the wall behind him, couldn't come back in, but Makata was full HP, so if it had gone over the wall, perhaps Makata could have killed him. Of course, he died in the end when they all collapsed in around him anyway, but interesting little fight there. Meteor Makers coming out heavily on top, almost a 6,000 gold lead.
Well, at least he was able to secure the Dragon first team, so since Makata was on the other side of that wall, wasn't able to smite it, so picked up a little bit of gold, a little bit of something on nothing, but in the end, I mean, the Dragon for 5 deaths of your team, not really the kind of trade you're looking to have.
No.
And Mackler, look at him now, 5-0-1, has 7,000 gold about total at this point. His counterpart has 5,500, so he has a nice, huge lead right there. And also Charu, I mean, we were looking at the picks and bans, and we saw him pick Twisted Fate, and we were kind of like, you know, we weren't too impressed with every time we've seen it, even in Tokyo Masters Cologne, but he's definitely shown, he's been working on it, and his whole team is really been adapting to that kind of pick in the mid lane.
We see with Nocturne, got the Phage Brutalizer, and that Giant's Belt in there as well. So Frozen Mallet, by the looks of things, going to come out at the end there. Of course, could end up just getting a bit of everything and then moving into his main items later on, which is certainly something that we're used to at this point, as we are seeing Meteor Makers coming around again. Blue buff this time is going to go over to Frog, and we can say it with safety this time around. And we're a little bit too slow to go in, but let's say, thank you very much. 2 ward kills, that pink going down. And Charu may even look to push this bottom lane out. Wicked is there to cover though.
Look what's happening right now. Matchmaker's going for a sneaky Baron. Only 20 minutes in, and EG has no vision on this. It looks like they won't even be able to stop it anyways because Mackler's so fed. He can take this down extremely quickly. Shen in the bot lane just backing out. And that will be a very early Baron going over to Michi Makers.
Yeah, what a pickup as well. They've had no idea that this was going to happen. They had vision there on Crepo. And we'll see Zyra running through that Baron buff and saying, well, that's not good news. As see the paranoia pops here, and he's actually going to come in on towards Crepo. Where's the fear going to send him? Sends him actually back towards the turret, and Makata is going to go down. Bullet time comes in, and that was not the best decision. Meet Your Maker's not able to follow up on that one afterward. And hey, run away. Charu just coming in to try and zone them back to make sure the rest of his team's safe. But not the biggest, the best call we've ever seen.
That really confused me because Charu had his ultimate up. If he wanted to go in and see where everyone at EG was, he could have just popped that first, and then that would have probably made Makata say, hey, I should probably not go in here.
Yeah.
Let the ultimate be wasted, but keep myself alive. And a big list play right there, and it might be what EG needs to get back in this game.
Well, in terms of gold, they're behind, but we'd be lying if we said we've not seen EG in this position before.
Have they ever came back from a gold deficit? I can't think of any.
25k? No problem. We're EG. We can hold this game out. But again, it's a different setup to what we're seeing before. And well, those kind of games only come around once every blue moon. It's Wicked just going to shadow dash himself away from the Elise Cocoon, but he won't get away from the stun card. There is Kuban to finish off. Nice gank out of Meet Your Makers. Brilliant play.
And the thing is, we were talking about how EG, can come back from gold deficits and win games with 25,000 gold behind. But there's one thing that's really key here. It's Mackler. He's Kog'Maw, and we've seen him in Intel Extreme Masters Clone just how amazing he is at micromanaging, dodging skill shots, and just staying alive in general.
Yeah, and I really like the fact that Libic has gone for boots of mobility here. Means that they can really move around that map quickly, catch people out a lot easier, and really get in there for the root. That's what Libic's going to be used for later on in this game, is that CC that can bring to the table. As Makata going to be pushing this top lane out as well here. So a little bit of a split push coming on. EG going to have to react to this at some point. And in the end, Makata just throws the minions through, lets them do their damage, and will back away.
And you see Meechmaker's picking up a couple of big items as well. Q1 has that Crystal Scepter done. You see the Lich Bane being picked up for Charu now, so that presence of him being able to backdoor you with the teleport, with the ultimate, is becoming very real, that threat he provides. You see the Infinity's Edge and the Zeal now done for Mackler. There's just so much damage on Meet Your Makers. I mean, Q1 has a lot because of that percent, and also the items he has. You have Nocturne as well, has a Brutalizer, even the Berserker Gears on top of that. And then Twisted Fate, I mean, they can just burst someone down. If they stun anyone, even if it's Wicked at this point, and he gets caught out, he will die.
Going to be dangerous times for EG. But they know how to sit back and soak up that pressure. They've seen Yellow Pete down here in the bottom lane. Are they going to go in for him? Yes, we are going to see that teleport coming down. Stan United comes out instantly there, and they may just try and turn this around onto Charu. Here comes Libic down. That's what I'm talking about with the boost of mobility. Yeah, he can't follow Twisted Fate through. They can damn well run pretty fast to catch up.
And it looks like with this ward in this jungle right here, they were able to spot it over towards the red buff. So we saw Wicked flash in to try to go for a taunt, but instead he just backed away just to make sure he didn't get caught out. Because if he died, that should be an inhibitor turret and inhibitor taken from Meet Your Makers. And with this Baron, with the control they have around this map, they don't really have an Oracle at this point, which is a little bit confusing since they're trying to be aggressive. They still just have a lot of control in general at this point. And that Dragon picked up 9,000 gold lead for MYM.
9,000 gold, really solid position to be in. And as I said, we've already seen one team losing today from the LCS against a non-LCS team with the Nexus taking down SK. Oh, Yellow Pete's in a lot of trouble. And when I say a lot of trouble, I mean he is dead. As we are going to see him going towards Snoopy as well. Are they going to get the stun down? Yes, they are. Does have intervention available, but if he was to burn that there, that would mean that they don't have it later on when it really counted there for the team. In the meantime, Meet Your Makers push, took down the inner turret in the middle. They may be able to take that turret down. Oh, the intervention, last second for Snoopy. Crescendo comes down, but Mackler's ripping through them. Focus coming down onto Crepo. Can they get the finisher? Not quite, but they're going to force him away. Zyra taking the turret hits there as well. Meet Your Makers are still pushing down the bottom. Zyra takes another big hit, but Mackler's still hitting the turret. This is going to be two inhib turrets going down directly after each other, and that is great play coming out of Meet Your Makers, but they may end up getting caught. Here comes the TP away, and he almost got away from it there. Gets killed off in the end.
And Meteor Maker's such a great play right there. We had a split push happening. We even saw Makate's ultimate go down, which confused the hell out of me. I was like, why is he not going after Froggen? Because he wanted to get Yellow Pete, but in the end, he was able to get Froggen's Flashbone as well. And then also the repel used out of Q1. He dodged a Crescendo, he dodged a Shadow Dash, and came back down and was there to provide even more damage. Great play out of him. Great play out of Meteor Makers in general. And they have those, well, they have the bottom inhibitor down, and they have that middle one to go if they want to take it. Baron will be up in about 3 minutes. So they have that also. The game is in their hands right now. I mean, it's pretty much up to them to lose at this point because they have such a huge advantage.
So when I was talking earlier about Makata banning a bit of everything to get everything at once later on, just picks up Frozen Mallet and Black Cleaver in that back. So, well, yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Obviously that needlessly large rod in there with Twisted Fate. Phantom Dancer now added in to the Infinity Edge from Cogmore, and this is where it gets so scary. I mean, compare that over to Misfortune, Bloodthirst, a Pickaxe. Well, you can't compare it, that's really the point.
and the thing is, Mackler, what does EG have to get into the backline against him? Nothing. They're depending on Froggen.
Seraph, yeah.
They're depending on him to kill him. And with the way it's been going so far, Mackler's been avoiding it as much as possible. He has the flash up, has the cleanse, and that's the only thing he's really scared of, is if he does get that E onto him, he's going to cleanse away if he does get stunned right after. He doesn't have to worry about Wicked getting in his face because he can destroy Wicked at this point. And also he has Cubone, he has Makate, he has Charu, able to back him up and do some damage.
Oh, Twisted Fate pinging down there towards that inhibitor. I wonder if EG are going to be expecting this one. Meteor Maker's pushing out, and I think the ping's coming down there. I mean, EG are just backing off a little bit as we are going to see that ulti from Twisted Fate being popped, but where is he going to go? Is he going to come into the back? No, he's going to come into the front as the ulti comes out from Nocturne. Yellow Pete going to take a lot of damage. It's not going to save him though there. The ulti out of Kale. Here comes Stan United on towards Snoopy, but they are chasing down Stun Card on Crepo. Double kill for Mackler. They get 3 for nothing at this point. Limbic is charging in. We got the teleport coming in onto the Nexus here from Charu. He's actually going to head Froggen off as they come into the base. Is he going to die to Snoopy? Of course he's not, but Froggen will catch him off. Well, that may be all she wrote here for EG. They get aced. First spawn coming up in 15 seconds. That's only Sona. And there's super minions in there. First Nexus turret goes down. Second one going to fall. And Meteor Makers are going to take down Evil Geniuses here in the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. What a result for the Poles.
Indeed. I mean, Meteor Makers beating them back in Cologne. We looked at them going into this game as the underdogs, but showing they're not underdog in any way, going 15,000 gold up, just absolutely destroying Evil Geniuses right there. I mean, we've always known Meteor Makers to be a very solid team, but they've always had that problem of being, you know, up and down in terms of their skill level and what they show at tournaments. But right here, they're showing that they're bringing the heat.
Well, they've got 2 MVP jackets from the Intel Extreme Masters so far this season. By the end, they might be more than half the team wearing them if they carry on at this rate. But either way, that's enough from me and Jason here on the caster desk. We're going to go over to Jarrett and the boys over on the analysis to break down the game.
Meteor Makers with a very convincing win over Team EG. What went wrong exactly? Did it go wrong at Champions Select?
I don't want to say anything went wrong because I don't want to take it away from MYM because they played phenomenal. That was incredibly well. Masterclass. I can't
It was really, really good. In terms of the lane swap, like just we were talking about that very, very early gank where Froggen moved up to the top lane and tried to secure some kills. And we just seen Zyra moving back and Libic just landing a grasping roots as Froggen came up. He'd warded up the Tribush. Almost a blind prediction shot, just timed it to the second, held Froggen in place. They did eventually lose a player, but it denied CS, it denied an assist to him. I think MYM made all of the right moves, they made all of the right plays, and they just played out of their skins good this particular matchup.
Yeah, I mean, their comp did kind of lend itself to that. They had a lot of map control. They had 2 global ultimates. They could be anywhere they wanted. They just sat there, they won the lane phase convincingly with that pressure. It's like, well, Snoopy can't really gank because we'll just turn up there and counter gank it. Wicked just can sit down there and farm, can't really come with his ult, just turn up and counter gank it. They put a lot of pressure onto Cogmore, kept him fed. It was arguably their weaker lane, as Cogmore is early. He's not the strongest of the early AD carries, but they put up the focus on there. They kept giving him a lot of attention, got him fed, got him plenty of gold. I mean, Crepo, Yellow Pete, arguably one of the best bottom lanes in the world. Sona Misfortune, one of the best bottom lanes in the world. But they weren't allowed to do what they wanted to do because they had so much attention in there. They wanted to go in and poke. They wanted to be aggressive level 1, 2, and 3, but Nocturne was there. Or, I mean, Zera tried to come up and just got shut down. But they had that ever-presence of Twisted Fate. Yes, he's not 6, but he had teleport.
Yeah.
And that's enough. He doesn't have to use it, but they know he has it, so they can't be quite as aggressive as they want. So just having that ability, very, very useful.
Yeah, so true. You know, the game was actually very, very close for the opening minutes, but there was one particular dragon fight that resulted in Evil Geniuses being aced, and then it led to the Baron. Let's actually jump into the replay right now, and Panky, talk us through this one. We've seen a lot of things that were like, some good moments and some cringe moments. Tell me what you're seeing here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long fight to start. Everyone has flash up as it starts. Frogger's doing a good job here of zoning Mackler out, but unfortunately couldn't quite land all the damage he needed. Snoopy's ult was used up very early on Frogger, that intervention, before he really took too much damage. But nice timing from Makati using his ult. Fails his flash because didn't expect the damage to tick through onto Frogger. Means he's out of position here, but his whole team still very healthy. Mackler's now in range because he hasn't got that zoning from Frogger. Can start doing a lot of auto-attack damage. Cubon, Elise, so tanky, so strong.
And Dragon's still alive.
Is in a great... Yeah, Dragon's still alive, so he's being tanked by Cubon. But Makati around here is actually... Okay, he's out of the fight for a while, but he's cutting off a lot of EG's escape. Now Shen comes in, so that's very late to starters. Crepo has failed his flash over the wall, which is why he died. Good fallback from MWM, got out of that MF ultimate. Unfortunately, it does mean they have to sacrifice the dragon, but for an ace, it's definitely worth it. Twisted Fate has got his teleport at this point, uses it very late for vision as they start to see EG split up. Don't know exactly where they're going. Picks off Snoopy, who's low health, doesn't have intervention, does have that gold card, of course, gets straight in on that one. Wicked still had his flash at this point, and he goes out, flashes over the wall, taunts straight through Cubon, no idea why. Complete waste of his flash. He could have either taunted over back over the wall, could have just carried on the recall in the bush and gone out safely. Yellow Pete, as soon as he got into that bottom bush, he was surrounded. There was no chance of him getting away from that one, and that resulted in the final ace. But it's just a little bit miscoordinated.
It felt sloppy from Evil Geniuses. They were all over the place. The Stand United came in very, very late in that particular engagement, and you could see he was coming into a dragon pit where there was no clear escape. Fair enough, he had his dash and he had flash, but questionable decision when it was pretty apparent you had lost the team fight.
Oh yeah, he needed to use his ult to save Yellow Pete. Doing so, they got the dragon. He did get his ult off on 3 moves anyway, and they could have perhaps picked up one of those kills if he'd have tanked a little bit extra damage, if they'd have absorbed more from his ultimate. So not the worst ultimate in the world, but when he was in there and when he was on his own and Yellow Pete was dead, it was, what do? I know there's 2 of them in the river. I know there's one behind me. I've got flash, I've got taunt. Well, I'll flash and taunt into the 3 people that I know are there and I know do a lot of damage. That's the logic I'm not quite getting. He could have taunted over the back wall. If he'd found Nocturne on the other side, he could have flashed away. As it was, if he'd taunted over the back wall, gone up towards the mid lane, or towards red buff, Nocturne had hit down towards Tribush and had gone to kill MF, so he could have actually made it out of the line. Admittedly, he didn't know that. He didn't know where Nocturne was.
I had no idea.
But again, that's a credit to MYM. The map control they had, the warding they had all over around that bottom half.
From very early on in the game as well, because we kept touching on that, talking about the vision, talking about the fact that they had the ability to go wherever they wanted, and every time that Evil Geniuses wanted to position for a gank, they could immediately respond. A little bit later into the game, MYM are, what's the math there, 12,000 gold up, 11 kills to 4. This was the game-winning team fight, and it took you, like, it just blew you away. So, talk us through this particular replay as we jump into the action here. I have left the game score up. You can see the bottom inhibitor has been revealed, and Sharu has popped his destiny for vision. So, what happened here that was very impressive?
Well, for starters, you can see, and you saw it in the minimap there in the bottom corner, the vision that MYM had, again, of this bottom half of the jungle. There was every bush covered, EG had no escapes where they wouldn't have been seen, and now the Destiny to initiate it. Showed MYM, right, they're all grouped, and they can collapse in on this. Stun goes to the wall, hits the perfect target, Yellow Pete, because he was not covered by the rest of his team. Force out the intervention very early on, he takes a lot of damage, and then ultimately dies to a creep. The last order comes out from Charu, doesn't finish him off, then the Wraith hits him, and that's what gets the kill. Beautiful EQ up from Cubon, kept him out of a lot of damage, straight back down again once his team's backed up and supported it. Shenna went off, but died before anything happened. Crepo caught around one side, and it's just collapse from MYM. Come in from the river, catch one, go straight on the backside. Yellow Pete, unfortunately, as I said, was the one that's caught, got burst down quickly. That's all the damage for EG gone, and then they just couldn't get escape. They want to run straight up through that bush, and there's a Cogmore Slow right underneath all of them, just closing in and cleaning up, pushing EG back through what was complete vision for MYM. There was nowhere they could go where they wouldn't be seen.
So a very deserved victory for MYM in complete control of the matchup. And we did say we preferred their late game composition a little bit more. They had the ability to defend and they had the ability to engage fights. So well played to MYM.
They're so good at getting Mackler. Like we said, he loves his Vayne, he loves his Cogmore. But a lot of that is because he can play it so well, and because the team work with it so well. They know they are late game carriers. They know they are high game carriers. They know they're late game carriers. They know they need to take a lot of farm. They need a lot of team support, and that's what they play around. They get him fed. They give him all the support he needs, and it works time and time again.
Well, EG's in a tough spot. They came off a a hard week in the LCS, and now they open up with a loss. They go up next against CG Entus Frost. We know that's not going to be easy, and it's the next game. They got to pull themselves together. I'm not a pro gamer. In reality, I don't know what you have to tell yourself or tell your team to bring your morale up, but they need to do something right away. Maybe a big group
And
hug.
there's a lot of history there. Before we get into the history, we'll talk about that when we get to the matchup. Let's do Twitter again. Twitter, hashtag IEM. Jump on to twitter.com/IEM. Tweet at us. We have a question that says, who will become this season's world champion? That's what we don't know. We've seen a lot of the teams have played already, so let us know your thoughts.
I mean, we saw off stream, we had SKT1 playing against, who was that one? Nexus, sorry, that was on the other group. From what I hear, it was a very, very tight game. All the kills seemed to go in Nexus's favor, but SKT1 just had the farm advantage, had the lane advantage, and they kept it very, very close. That game still seems to be going on as far as we can tell, but again, SKT1 are a very impressive team. We saw it in that first game. They played very, very well taking down Frost, but Nexus is still putting up a fight.
Wow, what an impressive start for them today.
These underdogs, these amateur teams, so to speak, from EU right now are
holding their
very,
own.
very impressive.
EU is strong.
That's it.
I play on NA and EU, and I can tell you they don't average, man.
EU players are just...
Yeah, we could tell the same.
Stuff.
We could tell the same.
I whispered that and hope maybe they didn't hear it at home. Okay. All right, we're going to go to Shox on stage. She's sitting with one of the winners from Team Meet Your Makers. I'm sure it'll be so amazing.
Thank you. I'm here with Mokade, the jungler for Meet Your Makers. Now Mokade's strong first win against EG. I saw Crepo tweeting before the match, we're going to make this a classic EG game, which they mean a long game. Still, you were able to bring them down fairly soon. So what was their weakness? What was your strong point?
I'm not entirely sure. From the beginning, everything just turned out that went cool for us. We got the first blood, I guess, and from then on, we were snowballing the game, and I don't think they could do much about it. So yeah, it's just simple as that.
So you barely didn't make it into the LCS by beating EG here, and you've seen Fnatic play, obviously, and some other teams. Do you think you might be stronger than some of the teams in the LCS?
It's a tough question, but in my opinion, on that given day we didn't qualify. We lost to Dragon Ball 02, so we showed that we're not ready yet. So there's no point to shit talk if we're stronger or weaker than LCS team right now. They deserve their spot, and we'll just do our best to qualify for the next one.
Very fair. But you're here now, you got a chance to shine. Who do you think will be the hardest team here to beat?
I guess it's not something special. I will not surprise you if I tell you that the Koreans and Russians from Gambit are the strongest right now, in my opinion. So yeah, they will be definitely the ones to look for.
Final question, we saw you jungle in Nocturne. He's kind of fallen off a little, out of grace. So why do you still like to jungle him?
I think he fits to some setups, like with Twisted Fate, it gives you global advantage. You have global presence, so it fits pretty great. So I don't think it's the champion that is totally out of meta. You just have to find a way to use him properly in team setup.
Good advice for solo Q2. Thank you very much, Mokade. Okay, we're going into a short break now, but EG has a hard task up ahead of them. They just lost the match, but they got to come back now because they have to fight CJ Entus Frost in the next game. CJ Entus Frost versus EG, up next.